That sucked, to be blunt. Not the type of ball we want to play, and really kind of eerily similar to our last performance in that we're not doing the fundamental things well enough. We're turning the ball over. We're not getting turnovers, and that hadn't been a recipe for us, but it has been of late. You're -2 or whatever we were in this game, man. You're not giving yourself a chance, particularly turning the ball over in the red zone. We had balls on the ground early. We had a ball on the ground on a punt team early. We didn't cover it. We had a ball tipped up in the air that could have provided our offense a short field. We didn't catch it. We're not being opportunistic on the defense or the special team side when given an opportunity. We had balls on the ground and turnover opportunities a week ago that we didn't capitalize on. And then we're not securing it on offense. And so you're running on the beach when you're performing like that, coupled with lack of situational playmaking, red zone defense, making people settle for field goals as opposed to touchdowns. The games are going to look like that. Got to score more than 10 points against an outfit like that. And so, you can look at it from a lot of angles. The bottom line is junior varsity is not good enough. We got to own that. But we also got to look at what it is we need to do different. We're not going to continue to do the same things and hope for a different result. That doesn't seem sharp to me. And so we're going to take a hard look at this. We got a couple extra days before we get back into it. We're going to take a look at it and make whatever necessary changes we need to make.
Huddle up, Steelers Nation. It's Tank. Let's talk Steelers. Well, the old quarterback, he's down with the flu. Couldn't lace up his cleats to be with me as we analyze this Chiefs game. Well, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's to you. Your Pittsburgh Steelers have lost to 3 of the very best teams in the NFL. We knew that the 2024 schedule was laden with easy teams up front, and the real litmus test for your Steelers was going to be, well, when we got into the Eagles, the Ravens, now the Chiefs at home on Christmas Day. There's a real sense of deja vu when you look back at all 3 games, the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. I know a lot of us, I know I did, I had optimism as we were heading into Philadelphia. Coach Tomlin likes to talk about a team on the rise, especially in December, meaning that you know what you've got, you know your best assets, you know your weapons, and you're seeing your team congeal. Well, when we went into Philadelphia, there was a sense of optimism that your Steelers could manhandle or at least get a Boswell field goal to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Against the Ravens, well, we knew that was going to be a tough matchup in Baltimore against, last year's team MVP. And a lot of people say that Lamar Jackson is destined to be the MVP this year as well. A few penalties, a few turnovers, and both the Eagles game and Ravens game kind of look the same. As your Steelers matched up against, what is now looking like the AFC's very best, if not the NFL's very best team in 2024, the Chiefs. It was deja vu all over again. Key moments of the game when balls were left on the ground by Freiermuth, interceptions, penalties. Your Steelers seemed to be in the game in the first half. Then all of a sudden, things went awry, and the Chiefs did what they do best. Patrick Mahomes, without any pressure on him, from any pressured rushes to throw, any sacks, anybody even touching him, worked his rattlesnake magic, because that's what he is. Patrick Mahomes is a rattlesnake that will bite you when you least suspect. Then all of a sudden, your Steelers met their decline, they met their Waterloo, and the Chiefs just kept putting up points and just kept laughing all the way to that locker room when Andy Reid dressed up like Santa Claus, because they gave themselves the very best Christmas gift the Chiefs could have given themselves was home field advantage and that #1 seed in the AFC. Before we get into what went wrong against the Chiefs, I want to talk about what went right. Again, this offensive line, much maligned the last several years, is doing a pretty good job with two rookies with, well, Zach Frazier at center and McCormick at right guard, holding their own. Of course, Jones had his problems at the beginning of the year with a lot of holding, a lot of missteps, playing out there on that island of rack tackle. He's come along. He's come a long way since game 1 in 2024. And of course, your left side of your line, well, they have pretty much kept Russell Wilson's uniform clean throughout most of Wilson's starts this year, with Sayamalu and Danny Moore playing left tackle. So I do want to give props to the offensive line. One of the reasons I say that is they're opening holes for Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren. You know, Mike, the quarterback, always tells me, Tank, quit living in the past. Quit bringing up Randy Fichtner. Quit bringing up Matt Canada. You know, there is no doubt Arthur Smith is a much better coordinator than both Matt Canada and Randy Fichtner. With Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, he's got a double threat. Thunder and lightning, as it were. Of course, Najee being the thunder. I don't see why Arthur Smith tries to keep getting Najee to the outside. It does bear fruit on occasion, but the fumble that cost us maybe the game, the lack of yardage, the drop balls by Najee to the outside, that's not his comfort zone. He is a big running back. He's as big as most linebackers in the NFL. You need to stick with Najee up the middle, the A gap. That's the gap beside the center and guard. You need to get Najee in the B gap, the gap between the center and the tackle. Quit trying to run him to the outside. Why is that? Because you have, well, Jaylen Warren, who amongst you doesn't think, if used properly, he could be the feature back in a lot of other offenses. Jaylen Warren is a legitimate threat who can hit the hole like lightning and pick you up 10, 15, 20 yards. When the offensive line and Najee and Jaylen are working, the running game, the pound and ground game, which Mr. Rooney himself said he wanted to see back in the Pittsburgh game plan this year, that is an incredible running offense. The other positive takeaway, well, George Pickens is one of the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL. If George can get his head on right, mature, grow, realize there is, well, the old saying, there is no I in team, George. It's a team effort on every single play, man. Means you got to block when you don't want to block. Means you got to sell your route to fake the corner, fake the safety, even though you know Jaylen's getting the ball. But there is no doubt that George Pickens is one of the top 3 receivers in the NFL. And look, I understand his frustrations last year with Matt Canada's offense. Matt Canada did not know how to use, well, he didn't know how to use Washington. He didn't use Freiermuth. He didn't use Jaylen Warren. And he certainly didn't know how to use the incredible potential Hall of Fame talent in George Pickens. Matt Canada would just send him down the sideline for a throw ball. There's no doubt as we look at that Chiefs game that George Pickens, well, he's a game changer. He is a legitimate threat. So that's the positives from the Chiefs' loss here at, well, Acrisure Stadium on Christmas Day.